Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Fara Sachs. Ronald McDonald House, Charities of South Florida, joins me today. Soraya Rivera Moya has been the executive director for the last 20 years. This home away from home offers families of seriously ill children a place to stay together as a family. Matthew Pincer is the Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at Jackson Health Systems, where these children are treated at Holtz Children, often staying at the home together. Thank you both for being here today. It's always a pleasure to have people behind the scenes that are working tirelessly to keep the mission alive. And you both have just incredible, and I have my hats off to both of you. So thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
I mean, this is not your first rodeo, Soraya. We are here today you're building a new house. You have an upcoming luncheon, the 12 Good Men. And Matthew, you are one of those 12 good men and on the community work that you do. Tell me a little bit about your job and your mission and this journey, this incredible journey with families and children in our community.
Yes, Ronald McDonald House, Charities of South Florida, has been established for the last 41 years. You know, we have always been at Jackson. That's when the house opened back in the days. And ever since then, you know, we provide a comfortable place, a place of hope, a place of caring for the parents that have a very seriously sick children or ill children. And they travel from long distances to come here to South Florida. And they come to Jackson and Holtz Children's Hospital for the best treatment and medical care. And we provide everything under one roof. And when I say everything is, you know, it's not only the lodging and the meals, but it's the comfort and the care that is provided by the staff, the volunteers, and, you know, being able to be possible by corporate supporters and donors of the community.
Maybe we should just run through a little bit about what people can expect, what that looks like for the community if they come in, because they're from all over the world. This
Correct.
is not just a local opportunity. Tell me a little bit as we look at
Yes.
this.
So as you know, Jackson and Holtz Children's Hospital is very well known for the pediatric care. They're one of the top 5% hospitals in the nation. They have around 22 pediatric specialties. And correct me if I'm wrong. But, if the parents come here, is because they know that their child is going to be able to heal. You know, they're looking also for that hope and, the personal care of the doctors as well. And at the house, you know, we have an amazing partnership. These families travel here, and at the end of the day, where are they going to stay? Because they might come here for maybe just a follow-up doctor's appointment, but then something happens. The doctor might say, no, you need to stay longer. And that's where the Ronald McDonald House comes in to play a vital role and essential care service for the patients at Holtz Children's Hospital.
Matthew, bringing you in, tell me a little bit about this journey for you. How long have you been with the Jackson system?
I've been with Jackson since the summer of 2011, so almost 13 years now.
It's a marriage.
It certainly feels that way. Don't tell my wife. And part of what we love so much about our partnership with Ronald McDonald House is I think of it both in the micro and in the macro, right? In the micro, what you hear Soraya talking about, that excellent care is not just about the nurses and the therapists and the doctors. It's about that entire way of having both a child and their family living through that experience. Right. And that requires comfort. That requires convenience. That requires having mom and dad a few steps away instead of a few hours or a few days away. But it's also the macro picture, because whether you're talking about Ronald McDonald House Charities or you're talking about Jackson Health System, these are examples of the community in South Florida coming together to accomplish something that no one of us could accomplish on our own, and creating something that is really the envy of a lot of other communities.
And what kind of unique services does the Holtz Children provide in conjunction with the Ronald McDonald House Charities?
I think where you would probably see most of the Ronald McDonald House families involved are probably in two of our service lines, right? We provide really comprehensive cancer services for children who have complex forms of cancer. And the Miami Transplant Institute, which is a partnership between Jackson and the University of Miami Health System, is one of the largest transplant programs in the country, and one of the only ones that can provide not just organ transplants, but sometimes multiple organ transplants to very sick children. You know, on one baby, we have done 6 and 7 organ transplants. You know, imagine what it's like for a family to go through that. Imagine what it's like if it's your child, right, who needs heart, lungs, kidney, pancreas, and intestines all transplanted when they're less than a year old. And imagine the difference in that experience if you have, you know, let's say that you live in Palmetto Bay, or you live in Hialeah, and you're maybe hour and a half away from Holt's Children's. If you can, instead of that, be 100 yards away and be able to be come and go as your child needs, that transforms the experience for the child and for the family.
And what kind of support do you give to the mothers, the fathers, the sisters at the hospital that these children are going through these procedures, these operations, this repeated course of care?
Well, first and foremost, we're talking about some of the best clinical care anywhere in the world. We're talking about nurses with deep experience and specialty. We're talking about physicians also from the University of Miami who are on the cutting edge. People come from all over the world to both train and to practice at Holt's Children's. But you're right that it goes a lot further than that as well. We have a really comprehensive what's called a child life program, right, which are specialists, professionals whose job is to make sure that those child's non-medical needs are continuing to be met. That might mean social needs. That might mean developmental needs. We know that kids need to be able to play in a safe way. And some of it is the marriage between those two. One of them that I learned a lot about when I first came to Jackson is music therapy. When you think about a 2-year-old, you know, if one of us needed to go for an MRI or a CT scan, I don't think it would be the best thing that we did that day, but you might sandwich it in between driving carpool and between having a lunch meeting. If you're a 2-year-old, imagine trying to keep a 2-year-old still for long enough in a confined space to do a scan like that. At a lot of other hospitals, that means having to sedate the child, which is safe enough, but is something you don't want to do if you don't have to. Music therapists, by working with the children from the time they first arrive with us and playing music and listening to music and learning about it, we can often keep children calm enough to go through those procedures without needing to be sedated. So it's things like that that make a specialized children's hospital like Holt's Children's and the partnerships that we have with organizations like Ronald McDonald House really kind of the key to delivering the best care for kids.
And what has that meant for you at the with the Ronald McDonald House, having this partnership with Holt's and right there, right down the street for treatment for families?
So imagine for these parents, you know, having the close proximity of the Ronald McDonald House, you know, that's really is less stress. You know, they're going to have a better hospital experience for their child and the entire family. They have been excellent to us. You know, we work on a day-to-day basis with the social workers, and the social workers really communicate with our staff on how the family is doing on the medical side. And then the social workers communicate with us, and then we tell them how they're doing on our side. You know, when it comes to, you know, providing the meals, you know, activities. We do so many great things like the hospital does. We do great activities at the house as well. We provide a home-like environment.
So what does that mean, the home-like? Because there's a kitchen set up.
Yes,
There's time for TV and videos and playroom. So tell me about that experience at the house.
So the house has 31 rooms, right? And then we have common areas that the families are able to share. So we have kitchen, laundry room facilities, TV, computers. And then we do activities just like you do at your home, maybe with your kids or your grandchildren, you know, whether it's, and this is all done by volunteers, whether it's, you know, board games, arts and crafts, karaoke, bingo, you know, things like that. We celebrate all the birthdays from the children, the parents, and the siblings at the house because we know, you know, their dates. But it's just, you know, it's just a home-like environment. We want them to feel just comfortable right at home. Remember, as Matthew said, these are families that are going to be here for a long time.
Because you said sometimes they're there for a month, but sometimes they can be there for years.
Correct. The longest family we've had has been 3 years that stayed with us, and they were from Egypt. So that's a long time to be away from home.
And so this is really subsidized because tell our audience how it works at the house. Do you pay like a hotel fee? Do you pay what you can pay? Like, how do you raise funds? And also, I want to get into how you raise funds. There was a smile that came up upon her face. I'm so glad you said that, Fara. But how do families offset some of these costs that they might have been incurring on top of the medical expenses?
Yeah, so once the family is referred to us by the social worker, so in order to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, your child needs to be either a newborn or maybe a mom with high-risk pregnancy up to 21 years old. But there's really no charge. It's free for those families. But if they want to make a contribution of $20 per night, it's more than welcome, but we don't turn them away for that reason. So what we have to do is, of course, raise the funds to keep our doors open. And we're able to do that through individual donations, corporate partnerships, and special events like the 12 Good Men event that we're going to be talking about. So, I mean, it's constantly, and 80% of our donations are individual donations. When I say individuals, it's people like you, families, other volunteers. It could be families that have stayed at other Ronald McDonald houses in other parts of the country. And then when they know that there's a local Ronald McDonald house, they get engaged and they get involved. So, we're very well known because of the services we provide. And people, really respect that, and they understand how essential this house is.
12 good men. Mm-hmm. I look at Matthew because he was one of the 12 good men in the past.
Yes, he was.
Tell me what that means to you as a giver, as a philanthropist, as a supporter of our community in terms of because you sit on many boards. Why is the house different? Why is the Ronald McDonald Charities different for you?
I think what really speaks to it is that Ronald McDonald House is not so different. Right? It's because it is another example that you see in South Florida of people coming together to make a difference. And the luncheon is great. It was a wonderful honor for me to be thought of in the same breath of some of these incredible leaders who have been honored over the years. But what was much bigger than that for me was being able to continue to be a part of something where we say, you don't have to go it alone. When you're in Miami, whether it's the mission that Jackson has, where every resident of Miami-Dade County receives the same high standard of care, or whether it's the mission of Ronald McDonald House, right, which is that no family should have to be away from their child during care like this, that's the beauty of what makes our community so special. So when I feel the pride, it's not so much about being individually honored at an event like that. It's about being part of a civic community that continues to care and continues to build through individual contributions, through corporate leaders, through foundations, in all these different ways that we bring it together and create something in Miami that's different than what we have in other cities.
Mm-hmm. In the time that we have left, tell me a story, a time, an experience in your work, either through the house or through Jackson, that really sets the stage of the work that you continue to do.
I'll let Soraya go first.
No, this was meant for you, man.
You're putting me on the spot.
Listen, you've done many things in your life on the spot. You work with the Herald. You know what it's like to be in that moment of humanity, and I think this is one of those moments.
I'll tell you a story where the work that we did clinically at Jackson overlapped very much with the personal. We have a fabulous team in marketing and communications at Jackson. And every once in a while, one of us who's a team member also needs the care. So a few years ago, one of our employees came to us because she and her husband were going to have their first baby via a surrogate. And the surrogate was one of her closest friends. And it ended up being an extremely difficult pregnancy. This is her best friend who's giving her this incredible gift, and she had to come to the hospital, I think 5 months into the pregnancy. And I remember the director telling me, and this is a nurse who served in the Army, and she said that she had never seen a patient with blood pressure this high survive. And the baby had to be delivered very early. He was in the NICU for more than 100 days. Mm. And when we, a week ago, celebrated our first community-wide One Day for Jackson, It was this employee and her husband and their beautiful baby boy, who's not a baby anymore, who's running around and talking and the star of the show, who were really helping bring together under one story everything about that mission. Right. So when I'm able to see somebody who I work with all the time and see the unbelievable strain that put on their family and the slim odds of having an outcome where the biological mom was fine, the baby was fine, that they got this extended care on the maternity side, on the pediatric side, and where they felt loved and embraced, not just cured. For me, that's the one that takes my breath away whenever I think about it.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's what we're all about, is all of our humanity combined together to support one another. Matthew Pincer, thank you so much for coming today. And I look forward to seeing you next week at the event, 12 Good Men.
Farah, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. The Arabella Sedona Hotel offers guests a peaceful retreat with hiking and biking trails, the best restaurants and art galleries. Book the Arabella Sedona for your next romantic weekend, relaxing family getaway, or Red Rock adventure. And we're back with the second part of our interview with Soraya Rivera-Moya and Robert Elias, managing principal with the Elias Law Firm, a transactional boutique law firm who has served as chairman on many boards, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Southern Florida. Welcome. Rumor has it that you are one of the 12 good men.
Correct. Thank you for having us. Yes, I'm one of the 12 good men.
What year was that?
2011.
11, correct.
And you do a lot of work for the community outside of the work that you do for making money. What does that mean to you to be philanthropic and to give back to the community, and what it meant for you to be one of those 12?
Well, I think, we're fortunate that we live, work, and play in literally one of the most popular places on the planet right now. And from my perspective, there's many great causes, but there's many great needs. And it's a kind of almost like a moral responsibility for people that are in a position to help, that they actually do help, and in whatever realm that could be, monetarily, that could be giving of their time, their resources, their networks. And so to me, it's important. It's part of my DNA.
And that's what I was going to say. Is this something you grew up with? Did you see this in your house? Was your family always givers into charitable organizations? Where does that come from? Where does that drive come from?
My father was a doctor, and so it was a different form of I would say community assistance. So I saw him, treating the poor and yet treating the president of the United States, and at whatever realm that person got the same level of care. And so my parents were always active civically and charitably, and it was probably through that those experiences that I developed my sense for wanting to help the community.
And you're still involved with the Ronald McDonald House charities and the 12 good men. I want to say the 12 angry men, the 12 a few good men. But what is that? What keeps you coming back year after year to work with Soraya? God knows she's a dynamo, and what the work that they do is, God bless you. And thank you for being a part of our community year after year, and 20 years, like we shared earlier in this interview. What is that like to come back every year?
Well, I got involved, as we said, in 2011, and I'm particularly interested in children's charities. You pointed out I had been the chairman of the board of the Make-A-Wish Foundation here, and I'm just fond of any opportunity to help children in particular. It just happens to me. Other people might have an interest in pets, in cancer, in any number of worthy causes, but for me, it's children-oriented causes, and that's kind of my passion. And
I wanted to mention that Robbie, he's wonderful. He has been involved in the event for so many years, ever since we honor him, and he does an amazing job of connecting us with past honorees, taking the time to call them and making sure they attend the event and, walk the wrong way as they did originally when they were honored. So we're very thankful for Robbie for all his involvement all these years.
And I just love it because everybody brings up their own little finesse. When I was there last year, they
have
you see their
song.
personality.
They have
I
their
love
own
it.
song. They have to pick their own song and walk the room.
So tell me about the day that's going to happen next week at the Lowe's in Coral Gables.
At the Lowe's, yeah, April 19. We're going to recognize incredible men from the community. I know that we're going to have them probably show on the screen. Individuals that are committed to the community in different causes, as Robert has mentioned.
Tell me a little bit about each of those 12.
So we have a little bit of, diverse backgrounds, from bankers with Christian LaCapra, one of the Miltons from the Milton family, Jonathan Babica, who is the executive director for the Little Lighthouse Foundation. So, we like to honor, men who are also involved in their charity engagements. We have lawyers, the editor of Brickle Magazine, the very well-respected Mr. Ron Book, a lawyer, Steve Sack, who's also a lawyer, Miami Heat. So we have a little, it's a great class. Every year, they're all different. And, we're super grateful that they have accepted this honor because, it's very well deserved. We have been doing this event for 31 years. And there's plenty of more men out there that we would like to recognize in the years to come.
And it is a one-day event.
It is a luncheon, yes.
The preparation is insurmountable.
Like a year. Takes a whole year.
Insurmountable from April 20th after this one. You're going to start working again. But how do you choose your honorees? What is expected? What is your hope that is brought to the community by having this one event, but you have many? And so tell me what that means. So
this event, pretty much the beauty of it is that when this event is over, we ask the past honorees, all the past honorees, to nominate.
And how many honorees have there been?
Like 340.
Wow.
So we ask the past honorees to nominate a future men, to be considered for the following year. And then we have a committee that, we gather that list, and it's very difficult to select. We gather their bios, and then we go through the committee, and then, we go back and forth, several Zoom meetings, and then finally they're selected. And of course, we have to ask the honorees if they're available that day. So, it's a lot of back and forth and communication until, if they say yes from the very first moment, then we communicate with them and we go through the process. We add them, of course, to engage their company or their coworkers or families to celebrate that moment with them. So, we have sponsorship opportunities, individual tickets. We also have an event program with congratulatory ads. And we're going to have a raffle, silent auction, and a couple of surprises.
Why are you doing this? There's a bigger picture that I want to talk about with the house. Mm-hmm. And the house that Love built is building, build. That's being taken place at the Holtz near the Holtz Hospital. Mm-hmm. So talk about why are we doing this? Why are you, not me, you?
You started
I feel like I'm part of this. My daughter was part of staying at a house in San Diego, California. Now it's 13 years. And that's how you and I got to connect. The importance of giving back. She was given life after this trauma. And it's in my DNA, like you talk about your DNA, to help Ronald McDonald House Charities of South Florida. But why? Why are we doing this? What is it? What is the importance of this new home and what that means to not only a local community, but to the world, to speak metaphorically? Mm-hmm.
Well, so as has been said, this is the 31st year of this particular event. The funds largely are earmarked for the operations of the Ronald McDonald House. However, you alluded to the larger purpose, which is that we are in the middle of a campaign to raise funds for a new Ronald McDonald House on the campus of Jackson Memorial. And it is the largest undertaking, probably I can say, in the history of the Ronald McDonald House. It's nearly $30 million that has to be raised. We're working on it. While the funds for this particular event are, as I said, earmarked for the operations, there will be lots of opportunities for people that would like to contribute towards the construction of the new house. And that takes many forms. One form is the program or the campaign allows people to sponsor or dedicate a portion of the house, be it a residence hall, a dining hall, a west wing, an east wing, an entrance, and the lobby, anything like that. There's been a lot of community support for it. That new house is going to double our capacity, and I think it's to underscore the importance of the Ronald McDonald House to the overall Jackson. They've put us at the corner of Main and Main inside the campus at the epicenter of Jackson, and it's going to be 100 feet from the Holtz Children's Hospital there, and so. While we do the event every year, this one is particularly important, and we really need the big community support on this to inch us closer to the $30 million that we need.
Tell me about that.
So pretty much what's happening right now, as Robbie said, we're in the middle of the capital campaign. The project is going to cost around $30 million. We're going to be doubling our capacity and eliminate our waiting list. Right now, we're turning away families as we speak.
So how many are you serving now, and how many will you serve families?
So we're serving 31 families at the same time. So that's approximately 300 families a year. It's going to double. We're going to go to 54 rooms and doubling, like around 600, probably 700.
How many families have been impacted?
Probably more than 34,000.
And how many do you
throughout
think
our
you've
history. Well, a lot. I could write a book about that.
Well, I want to hear the book. But
Yeah.
Tell me about what's going to happen. How else is it going to affect the community, and why it's important?
It's extremely important. I mean, we are not able to meet the need at this point. And we have been working on this project for almost a decade. First, trying to find the piece of property, which was, as you know, it's very difficult. And we were able to get that through Jackson Memorial Hospital and the Public Health Trust. So we're kind of swapping lands. We're taking a new property, building from the ground up, and then giving that old property back to Jackson for future projects.
And why should the community get involved? And if they want to get involved, we'll give some information. What is that? I would imagine if one has the fortitude and the vision to live a living legacy, even after one is no longer here. I think that's what we're alluding to, is to really make a difference in a community and the lives of families by putting your name somewhere where it lasts forever.
Correct.
And I think that is the beauty of what you're asking the community to really become a partner with the house.
Correct. This house is so much needed. It needs to be done because we need to close that gap. We need to address the issue of hospital lodging for the parents and, seriously sick children. I mean, this house provides peace of mind. And the fact that we really need to raise these funds is we have to create the awareness of it and the importance. And as you said, so many people are going to leave a legacy with this project. We already have donors that are committed already, and we have to thank them for that. And there's more that needs to be done because the issue of this lodging, there's so much. We still need to do a lot of work.
So if people want to get involved, it's I'm going to give some information, is 305, you can see that on the crawler below, 305-324-5683, or they can reach out through the website is mhcsouthflorida.org to get involved and become part of the fabric of our community, not only affecting locally, but throughout the world.
Correct. Yeah, Ronald McDonald houses are all over the world, and this one in particular just needs to be possible through donors in our community. I know that people will pitch in and contribute as they can, whether it's helping us with monetary donations. We're going to be constructing something, so we need in-kind materials as well, so we can lower those construction costs. So there's many ways to get involved in this particular project.
In the moment we have left, shine a little light on a story that really impacted you because of your work with the Ronald McDonald House Charities and the work that you do in the lodging and keeping families together.
I mean, for me, I have the fortune to have my office and go to that facility every single day. And interact with the parents and probably interact with the children if they're outpatient or if they're inpatient, they come to the house back and forth. But to me, there was one particular case. It was this girl from Vietnam, and she would live in the suburbs. And a missionary person brought her to the United States because she had a tumor in her tongue since she was 2 years old, and she was 14. So it was as big as probably this size. So when she came to the United States, of course, other children would see her a little bit different, and she would not speak the language. So she came only with her mother. But when she came to the house, the other moms really embraced her. She was able to try other types of foods, even learn the language, whether it was Spanish or English. And Lai, that was her name. That is her name. Lai had her surgery. Removed from one particular surgery right at Holtz. And when she came to the Ronald House back again, she felt different. She felt a little bit more beautiful, right? And then everybody celebrated her, her successful surgery. And after being with us for around 8 months, she left the house. She was going to go back home. And she said in Spanish, "Te quiero, Ronald McDonald House." So she said, "I love you, Ronald McDonald House." So that right there was, our mission was accomplished, all together. Whether it was, family connection, family community and support that this girl received and her mom received, that, she was very happy to go back home. And, every single day we have families that are able to return to their homes. And that's, our mission is accomplished when that happens.
Wonderful. Robbie, for you? Anything that you want to add?
Yeah, well, I want to go back to the support, because there's a common misconception that because of the name Ronald McDonald House, that all the support comes magically from McDonald's.
But burgers and French fries, right?
Correct. So what happens is there is support from the South Florida McDonald's franchisees, and they're wonderful, but it's a fraction of what we need from the community in terms of supporting the event. I think the event is nearly sold out. There's probably a handful of tables that can be sold. So we'd like to wrap that up. But we're looking for really significant support to close this gap. And as you alluded, the naming rights for portions of the house are a legacy that can be gifted and enjoyed and celebrated by our philanthropic families here.
Yeah.
So thank you. And thank you for taking the time being with me, and thank you to Matthew and the first part of our interview today. And much success for the event moving forward, to the house that love built. And again, if you want to get involved, it's 305-324-5683, or look them up on the website at rnhcsouthflorida.org. Kudos to all the work that you do.
Thank you for
and to the families you serve, and the work that you continually do tirelessly, day in, day out, to the next 20 years at Ronald McDonald, okay?
The next 20
Thanks
years.
for having us.
Thank you, Fara, so much.
Thank you. And thank you for joining me. I'm Fara Sachs. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great day. And a special thank you to Julian Chang, who now has a second location in Pinecrest. Go visit his boutique for all your clothing and accessory needs.